your point is not a point. What you're saying is when the sun silhouettes something, you can see the silhouette. That means the Earth is flat. It doesn't mean that the Earth is spinning. That has no sequitur.
If it was spinning, it wouldn't be because in theory, if it was anything that you spin over a period of time is going to end up in a sphere shape, correct?
Spoken with anybody about flat Earth? Have you had anyone on about flat Earth? Have you looked into it?
My coach has been talking to me about it for a year, 2 years now.
Okay.
And he said he's got the app.
All right.
He's definitely said that you were the man to talk to. So I was like, hey, let's have this conversation because obviously I have different views than what Coach has regarding flat Earth.
Sure.
I think with with Coach just kind of diving in, he has a topographical view, right, of what's going on, and I'm looking for more of the in-depth explanation as far as what flat Earth is, because I have my assumptions, so I think we can start off and kind of roll right into that, right? Explaining what is the concept of flat Earth, what is that entail flat Earth? Could you give me an explanation of that?
Sure. Well, did you guys hit record for your side? To record on your side?
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
So when people think flat Earth, they think the program to think that it's a disc floating in space. Anytime you see anything on television, talking about flat Earth, they show you this. They show you a disc in space. This is not what flat Earth is. Okay, you Google flat Earth, you're going to end up with the Flat Earth Society. You're going to end up with with images like that, or the common thing people say is, what are we, the only flat planet out there? This is two wrong models, a heliocentric incorrect model and an incorrect flat Earth model. Okay, so this is how your when I say you, by the way, I'm not picking on you. I was you.
Stan,
I was you.
Older, right?
And I kicked and screamed not to even look at this because this is the dumbest thing ever, right?
Right.
So that's what flat Earth isn't. Okay. So what is, first, let's quickly just look at what is the heliocentric model. In your model, do you know how fast the Earth is spinning at the equator?
Right.
Do you?
Not off the top of my head, please enlighten me.
And by the way, every question I'm going to ask you, I got wrong when I was asked. So if you get a 0, you equal what I got. Okay.
I'm going to get a 0 because I'm here as
no
sponge,
problem.
Right. I'm here as a sponge right now.
Listen, I appreciate it. I didn't catch your name. What's your name?
I'm sorry, it's Keith. My name's Keith.
Keith. All right, Keith. So, and the guy on the side here?
This is Coach Gustavo.
Coach, scoot over a little bit. Get in the frame a little bit. All right? Get in the frame. There you go. There you go. Now we can see both of you, and I don't want you to get a sore neck. So the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, right? That's some serious force if you think about that. It's orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour.
Curious number.
Speeds you can't even fathom, right? And it's chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. Okay, right? And it's moving in, and these aren't straight motions. These are curved motions, right? It's not like, hey, I'm in an airplane, I could drink a glass of water. If you want to compare the airplane just to the spin of the Earth, which is the slowest motion, you have to double the speed of the airplane. You have to have the pilot nose down a mile a minute just to follow the curve of the Earth. And you have to remove the outer shell of the plane because there's no outer shell on a globe Earth. Okay? And that's just mirroring the simplest motion, right? But all of our senses tell us that we're not moving. Here's the hypersonic sled track. You can Google it yourself, look it up. And the sound that it makes when it goes by is insane. 7.8, Mach 8.6, I think. Mach 8.6? I think, yeah. 8.6 times the speed of sound. You can't even see this thing. You have to believe that the Earth is orbiting the sun 10 times faster than this. It is chasing the sun 100 times faster than that, right? But when you go out into nature, your common sense shows you this, right? Only nonsense tells you the other, right? You're told by men lie, nature doesn't lie, that we're going in all of these motions and none of them are happening. You go out into nature and you see this. What does your common sense tell you? What does your God given common sense tell you? This is not moving.
Yep.
This is a container of water. What's the container? The land that's higher than the water is containing the water. Large bodies of water at rest need lateral pressure. That lateral pressure comes from the land that's higher than them. You lower the land and the water will flow elsewhere because it doesn't have that lateral pressure. So they tell us that Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of the ball. Antarctica is the only place on Earth, practically the only place on Earth, where there's no high altitude photos of Antarctica.
I'm listening. I just want to change this background a little bit.
Okay. Right? So they tell us this is Antarctica, and when you look at all of the supposed satellite shots, high altitude shots, whatever you want to say, there's none. They're all cartoons. These are cartoons. There's no real photography of Antarctica. And why is that? And I claim the reason is because Antarctica isn't a continent at the bottom of the ball. Antarctica is the shoreline of our world. Okay? The shoreline of our world is beyond as far south as we're allowed to go. We're not allowed to go past 60 degrees south. That's, I think, more than 1,000 miles from Antarctica. No one is allowed to go there. No independent exploration beyond 60 degrees south is allowed. Okay, why is that? Why is that? Now you can get you can go from Santiago to this little peninsula here. This peninsula is huge, bigger than some countries, and that's it. You're not allowed off the ship. If you are, you're not allowed to explore. You're not allowed to explore out here. So if you want to know what the flat Earth is, the flat Earth is all of our land, everything. Our Earth is 70% water. Large bodies of water rest lay flat. There is no measurable curvature. If there was, we'd be able to measure it, but there's none. We can see too far. There's a whole bunch of these things. But your original question is, what is the flat Earth? This is the flat Earth. This pink line is 60 degrees south, and no one's allowed to go beyond it. What's out here? What's out here? What's out here? What's out here? Off limits, right? Admiral Byrd in 1950s, 40s and 50s, he went out and said he discovered more land bigger than the United States, filled with resources that no human has ever stepped foot upon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And talk about that with somebody else. They mentioned that Admiral Byrd was saying about hollow Earth. I think that's a lie. Right?
Well, that's another thing, because I believe, and again, we weren't there and we don't have any firsthand information on this, that is just a distraction. He found more land. Well, how can you have more land beyond the pole? Because the pole is at the bottom of the world. There's really nothing beyond the pole. There's just the other side. And so they made up the hollow Earth. And the hollow Earth is the same thing as the heliocentric world. It's a prism for your mind. Here's a map that was found in a Buddhist temple that's 10 centuries old. Okay? Perhaps, this is where we live. And when you go to Antarctica from the only place that you're really allowed to go from, this tip of Santiago, maybe they just take you to this continent. This continent looks to be about 2 or 3 times bigger than the United States. Okay? And so if they pulled up to the center of this continent, you wouldn't know that it's just a continent. You wouldn't know anything. You wouldn't be able to see left or right very far at all. You would just see this land, this ice, this wall of ice, just like we see when we go there. So maybe the real ice wall is out farther that's containing all the water, and these are hidden continents.
Okay.
And we start there. What would a question that you have be?
So, in theory, and from what I see, you haven't shown like you haven't shown that well, I guess immediately you showed that this is what they think the explanation of flat Earth is, that it's flat Earth. But I'm going to, from what you just showed me, flat Earth.
I didn't show you any proof yet. I just told you what flat Earth is.
Right. The understanding of flat Earth is the space that we're allowed in. right? It's flat.
Well, they understand flat is not a shape. It's a description of
Description,
horizontal and level.
right.
Right.
So if you go past that, right? There's that part we can't go past, right? That you said that there's that circumference, that circle there.
Yeah.
That as we get to this right here, we can't go any further.
Mhm.
So because I don't want to like sound like
No, ask the question. It's all right, man.
okay. So then essentially the Earth could be a sphere because we've never been past that circumference that you pointed out.
Right. So if the Earth is a sphere, there has to be physical curvature, right? So here's a sphere, and if I drag my finger away, it disappears behind a physical horizon, right? So you can't see my fingernail anymore. Let's just say that's a boat. Zoom in, you still can't see it because there's a physical horizon. Our
Right.
horizon's not physical.
Right, but your finger wouldn't. Your finger on that object itself, right, is not. You would have to use something the size of an ant, right?
Oh, no, that was just a demonstration.
I understand. But if you did that, right, you would have to use like a grain of sand to put on there, and then that circumference that sand sat on would essentially be flat.
No. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Let me unwind that a little bit for you. You will agree that no matter what size the globe is, there is a rate of curvature. If the globe was the size of a yoga ball or the size of the Earth or 100 times the size that they tell us, there would still be a rate of curvature, right? No matter where you are, whatever direction you go, you're going to slope down and around the ball, right? Every ball has a rate of curvature. Now they tell us, one of the big globe proofs is boats disappear from the bottom up over the horizon. But you're like, well, the Earth is so big, you can't see the curvature, but then they want us to believe that we can see a boat going over the horizon. Well, there is math that tells us, our globe is 24,901 miles around. That's what they tell us. Nobody can tell us where they got the radius from, but that's what they tell us. So at 24,901 miles around, there's a formula which is about 8 inches per mile squared. Okay. Now, this is the Globers will tell you that the formula is not real, but I can prove to you that it's real and 100% accurate. So at 1 mile, there's 8 inches. That's not very much. At 2 miles, at 3 miles, 3 times 3 is 9 times 8 is 6 feet. At 3 miles on your globe, there should be 6 feet of curvature. So what does that mean? I'm a 6 foot tall guy. I'm standing at the edge of a calm ocean. I should not be able to see the surface of the water beyond 3 miles because it's dropping behind that physical curve. And the farther out I go, the farther it drops. So a boat, after it goes beyond 3 miles, is going to start to disappear from the bottom up if the Earth was a globe. Now, if I see a boat disappear from the bottom up, does that mean the Earth is a globe? Well, it kind of fits into that category. But what if I could zoom in and bring it back? Now, as I talked to you before, my fingernail disappears. Zooming in will not bring it back because there's a physical curvature, right? What they don't teach us in school is the angular resolution limits of our eyes and perspective. They've literally taken that out of the teachings in school. So let's take a look at
Yeah, go ahead. I'm looking. I'm trying to find a picture here that I want to discuss here in a minute, but keep going.
Well, I need to show you some stuff, so I need you to pay attention. What picture you're looking for? I probably have it. What is it a picture of?
No. This is one I took myself. This is what I took myself.
All right, beautiful.
It's something. So keep going.
So let's look at this. Look at this for a second. So there's no boat here, right? So I'm zooming in. I'm zooming in as I'm increasing the angular size, and as I increase the angular size, look, there's a boat. There's a boat there. And as I zoom out, it's the same thing as the boat going away. You're going to see this boat disappear from the bottom up because the lower part of the boat has the smallest angle. And these little tiny waves in the foreground are hiding the boat, and it disappears. Now, if we didn't have today's technology with super zoom lenses, you could claim that it went over the curve. But I'm proving to you beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is not a physical curve. This is an optical thing.
But that boat is not further enough. But it's possible because
It's possible that boat is not far enough away.
I'm an avid fisherman. I'm an avid fisherman, and I know it takes at least 5 hours to get to the ocean. from let's say, you know, I've done it from Virginia Beach, I've done it from Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
It takes about 5 hours, so that boat is not 5 hours away.
Okay, so but you forgot everything I just said a moment ago.
No, not at all, not at all.
Hold
Because
on.
the way you said that, like it would have to be for you to essentially see the curvature of it, right? Because of the circumference there, it would have to be, I don't know, was it 30 knots, 300 miles away?
Keith, you know what the curvature at 300 miles is? At 300 miles, I'm going to pull that up for you right now. At 300 miles, 300 times 300 times 8 divided by 12 equals 60,000 feet divided by 5285. So at that distance, there's 11 miles of curvature at 300 miles. Listen,
Okay.
11, Keith, you have to look up. Stop looking for your picture.
I'm trying to find the picture. I'm listening,
I know, but if you're going to bring up a point like that, that is pointless. That is absolute. You're not listening. At 3 miles, there should be 6 feet of curvature. At 100 miles, there should be 6,000 feet of curvature. At 100 miles, that's over a mile of curvature at 100 miles. Okay, so we don't know how far that boat is, but we do know how far this oil rig is. Now it's only 9.4 miles away, and the camera is 1 foot off the ground, 1 foot off the water. According to Globe Math, and I could show you that math, and it's easy to understand, the horizon should be only 1.2 miles away. That water should drop below a physical horizon at 1.2 miles away. But look, not only can we see the entire rig, we can see the surface of the water for dozens of miles beyond it. Okay, there's a video that shows this, but you can see the water surface. That just at the rig alone, there should be 59 feet of curvature. 59 undisputed feet of curvature. So the only explanation you have is that the image is refracting up and stopping. So the image beyond it is refracting up whatever number of feet and stopping at eye level. The water in front of it is also refracting up, but the rig is just staying at eye level. Everything is magically refracting to eye level, or it's flat.
Following the formula.
I get it. I
Flat.
still.
Let's look at another one. Let's look at another one because the image. I think we're gonna just make the image that you're looking for really not matter.
I found it.
Okay. So here's another image. I'll just show you, and then you can tell me about your image. This is Mount San Jacinto from Malibu, 123 miles away. There should be over 7,000 feet of curvature. But with our infrared cameras, we can see it. Turn the infrared off, that mountain is gone. Can't see it. It's not there. It's sky. Turn on the infrared, there it is, right there. So our atmosphere is like soup.
I'm glad you showed that picture.
What's that?
Glad you showed that picture.
Okay.
Keep going.
Right, because there should be 100 at 123 miles. There should be 7,000 feet of curvature. But let's just do a little farther because I think I know why you're glad I showed the picture. Here's oops, I just lost myself. Okay, so here is a spot in the Leisure France. We're looking out here. Mount Canigou is out there 150 miles. God, now I'm spacing on the distance. 175 miles. Okay, and from this altitude, that distance, the very top of the mountain should be over a half a mile hidden below the curve. Well, guess what? We can't see it. Very interesting. Maybe it's behind the curve, behind the physical curve. However, our sun migrates in between the two tropics every 6 months. And twice a year, it lines up with the viewing spot and Canigou Mountain. The light that's bouncing off of that mountain can't push through the soup of the atmosphere and get to our eyes because it's just not bright enough. But the sun is bright enough. And as the sun moves away, it backlights the mountain.
Right, but doesn't that prove? But doesn't that prove that that this, we'll call it a rock, because right now we haven't, obviously there's flat Earth and there's the globe, the assumption of the globe, there's assumption of the flat Earth. But doesn't that prove that this, whatever rock or whatever we're on, is actually spinning? because you
How
can actually see that. So there is a curvature, but it's actually spinning, and that's why.
so? Where's that coming from? I have no idea what you're talking
right?
about.
Because the sun sets in the east, so they say, right? The sun sets in the east. Do we
Sunsets
both
in the
believe
east.
that?
I'll give it to you.
Do we both believe that?
The sunset's in the west. All right, it rises in the east. Sets in the
Roughly
west.
Well, I live in Virginia.
Yeah.
And I have that same picture that I took myself with my Apple iPhone,
Yeah.
where you can see where the sun is reflecting mountains that are at least 300 miles away. I have a picture that I took from National Harbor. I took it at National Harbor, Maryland. And you can see as the sun is setting, you can see the reflection of mountains.
Reflection. What do you mean by the
sun.
reflection of mountains?
You
Explain.
can see silhouettes of mountains, but only in the sun.
Only in the sun, right?
Only in the sun, right? Showing that the Earth is actually moving.
That doesn't show that the Earth is moving.
You go back.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You gotta let.
No, I'll let you. I'll let you
Go ahead, talk away.
Talk the whole way. So if you go back to your original picture where you showed where the sun, where the planet is chasing the moon, going around it but not moving, then you should not be able to see the silhouette of mountains because they should never be on that side of the sun.
Keith, I have no idea what you're talking about. You got to explain it better.
Okay. If I can see, if the sun is setting, we all agree that the sun's
I'm gonna go back to the picture, but
Okay,
let's just look at this for a second. The top of this mountain should be a half a mile below the curve. It's not. It's right here, and the sun is revealing it because the sun's light is strong enough to push 175 miles, where the reflected light off the mountain is not strong enough to push. Right.
Or that could be showing that the sun is. I mean, that the planet is in a rotation. And
no, wait, hold on a second. You think that because the planet? I'm telling you that the sun is moving, just like we see it move, just like we sense it's moving. We're not moving. I showed you that with water, with those lakes. The sun is moving.
You didn't show a lake. You didn't show an ocean or the side of a island where the water is crashing up to the island.
What does that have to do with this image? What does that have to do with this image?
I only mentioned the water because you mentioned lakes. That's it.
So let me ask you a question. How can we see if the top of this mountain should be over half a mile below the curve? How can we see it?
Or is the globe spinning? And
if it was spinning, how can we see it? Doesn't matter if the globe is spinning or not.
The sun is there, and because as it goes into the light of the sun, you can see it.
No.
Or as the sun
you're not making any sense. So hold on. So my fingernail is the mountain. It's
right.
Oh, the curve. How does the spin of the world let you view it from over here?
Spin it towards me. Spin it towards me. Leave your finger where.
Spin it towards you like that.
And look what I see.
Yeah, but you're not there. You're over here. You're spinning away with it.
The sun is so high. The sun is so high. That's why you see the silhouette of it. You're mountain. Like I have a picture where you don't see anything outside. You see a silhouette in the sun because the sun enough, like you said, to show that, right? Because
your point is not a point. What you're saying is when the sun silhouettes something, you can see the silhouette. That means the Earth is flat. It doesn't mean that the Earth is spinning. That has no sequitur.
If it was spinning, it wouldn't be because in theory, if it was anything that you spin over a period of time is going to end up in a sphere shape, correct? Like,
no,
nothing.
Well, I mean, you're under the belief that gravity pulls things into spheres.
Yeah.
So you believe once upon a time there was nothing. It exploded and became everything, and then
No. I don't believe that. I believe there's more deeper. Obviously there's so many different histories.
You believe that planets are just accumulations of mass held together by gravity?
I believe that they are stars that combusted, yes.
Okay. And you believe that stars are accumulation of gases so dense that they turned into nuclear furnaces?
Yeah.
And somehow when the stars and the planets formed, they left a void, a vacuum of no pressure in between.
I think that happened over a collective period of time.
How do you have high pressure next to no pressure without a physical barrier?
I believe that
gravity.
I believe that was created through gases and obviously other things. I'm not a
You're,
scientist.
I know you're not a scientist, but you're giving up your common sense to nonsense, right? Where gases fell upon each other and turned into these giant gravitational balls, leaving a vacuum in between them. You can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical container. Can't be done.
That's like saying they didn't turn an atom into a bomb.
They didn't. Nuclear bombs don't exist. Whole nother show.
Right. That's a whole nother show.
They didn't. So, when you start looking into that, and anybody that's listening to this, Crow 777 Radio, Crow with 2 R's, Crow 777radio.com, episode 053 and episode 400. Listen,
a little slower so
it'll change your life. What's that?
Get a little slower so they can get it.
Crow, the podcast is called Crow, CRROW 777radio.com, and it's episode 053, I believe, and 400. If you listen to those two and don't believe anything, verify what they're saying, you will understand that the nuclear bomb scare is a hoax. It's meant to control the world. There is no such thing as nuclear bombs. Just real short, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 3 days later, the trains were running, the sandwich shops were open, the flower shops were open, and people were back to work. And today, there's no problem living there, but supposedly there's radiation that lasts, thousands and thousands of years. It's nonsense.
Well, I wouldn't say that to the guy who went through it twice.
Well, there's people that died there. There was a huge explosion, but there's video of them piling up TNT, skids and skids and skids of TNT at ground zero. There's video of them doing it, right? There's a guy named Galen Windsor that traveled the world that worked in the nuclear industry, showing that the plutonium is not dangerous. He swam in the pools at nuclear power plants, and he ate plutonium. He showed people that it's not what they tell us. So listen, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole other show, right?
All right. So continue on with this right here. I'm going to obviously chime in when I have questions. But go for it.
So the whole spinning of the Earth, revealing mountains. I don't really understand where you're going there. I'd kind of rather just move on unless there's something else you want to say about that.
When they spin, if they're here and you're here, you're also spinning with it, so you won't see the curve.
Right. So here, an example. If you're here, listen. If you're here, this finger's you, and this finger's an object. You can't see it because there's a curve in between it, right?
But you see it on the sun. You don't see it.
Hold on. You don't see it. Right. You're here. You can't see my finger. That's on my side. And as you spin, it comes into view for you, the viewer, because you're here. Right, but this person always has the curve in between them.
But as the sun goes down, and I still see the sun, right? I see the silhouette in the sun. You're right. I'm on the other side I'm on the other side, so you're absolutely right. But I can still see that half of the sun. I can still see the sun, which is showing the silhouette of that mountain. So like you said, if you put that globe back up, yes, I'm there, but the sun is way back here.
But right? I don't care how far the sun goes away, that person that's below the curve will not get silhouetted by the sun.
As long as I can see the sun, and we're not really seeing the sun at that point, right? We're seeing an optical illusion. Everyone knows that, right? At that point, I believe it's called an optical illusion, where the sun is really way up here, but because of the lights, you see it looks closer, right? It looks like it's actually right there at the edge of the water. So obviously, I can see that reflection of the sun, which I see the silhouette of those mountains in the sun. I don't see it anywhere else because in the picture
there's no way that you can
only see it.
Hold on,
in the sun.
Listen, what we can take up the rest of the show arguing about this. Get a ball, make a model, show me how that works. You can't because it doesn't work. Okay, so let's just talk about how the sun sets, just so you can understand that a little better.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So here's a little demonstration that I made. I call it my flat Earth kitchen. Okay, so right here I have a level line. We're viewing it from a celestial point of view. As you can see, the camera is about the same height as this line. I'm moving the sun across it in a nice straight level line. My counter is here. It's level. This here could be skyline, it could be cloud deck, it could be a city, mountains. We didn't go below it. It's opaque. And now we're going to view the same exact thing from the camera that I have a terrestrial view. The camera's on the counter at the other end. And now that I look at this line. If I showed you this first, I said, is this level? You'd say, no, it's tilted down at about 45 degrees. And I say, is this sun going below this opaque object, which appears to be at eye level, but isn't? It's way above eye level. And you'd be like, yeah. And now I look at this line. It's almost going straight down. This is a level line. This sun is not going below this, but it's getting eclipsed by something in the distance. Here is a real sunset versus my sunset. Look right here. What's the sun going behind? What's it going behind? It's disappearing from the bottom up. Is that the cloud deck? Is that a city skyline? Is that a mountain? Or is that just the way the sun sets due to perspective?
As the world is spinning, it probably is showing you what's there, because that's not the size of the sun. We don't, when you show me that sun, that's like that light you have right there. If you brought not the sunset, but the actual what you were doing with the sun there, and put it right behind where you see the bottles, right behind that, you have bottles back there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you have bottles on both sides of that. Mm-hmm. Now as you pull that down, if that light was bright enough, you would see the silhouette of those bottles on that globe that you created, right? On that sun you created, on the.
But you don't.
But
no, you're again. You think that as the Earth spins, the mountains are going to line up with the sun. You're spinning. Like if we're together spinning on a ball, let's say we're on a ball and there's a hump between us 10 feet high, so we can't see each other. Okay. Right. And somehow we're stuck to this ball and it's spinning. Okay. I'm never going to see you. The sun could go behind your head. I'm not going to see the silhouette of your head because there's a 10-foot hump between us.
And
okay? Only if I got closer to you would I see that. But if we're on a ball, the distance that we're seeing these things, the mountain, we're not getting any closer because it's still 175 miles away. It should be a hump, a physical hump in between the viewer of the mountain and the mountain. And it doesn't change because it doesn't matter if we're spinning or not. We're on a ball. There should be a physical difference. You're missing that. You're struggling to hold on to your ball when
I'm not struggling.
I think that if the silhouette that you say it is true, it wouldn't be up. It would be you want to see it in the sea.
You would see
reflected
in
the sea, but not up.
No, you would see it reflected in the sun.
Sense.
You would see it reflected in the light, right? You wouldn't see it anywhere else but the light.
But in the picture that you show,
right,
you were watching a silhouette up, like here. It doesn't make sense. If you are in the water and you have a silhouette, you're going to see the silhouette in the water, not up.
No, you're going to see it in the sun. You're not going to see it in the water because it's on the other side of this ball.
But it's over.
But it's over here, right? And the sun is as we're going like this, as we're going like this, because eventually it never covers the whole thing. So eventually it actually goes out. It never leaves that. Never leaves that short horizon.
So here, so look. So here's my finger's a mountain. Mm-hmm. And the sun is behind it, and it's silhouetting it. So now you can see it. Pretend that you couldn't see it because the atmosphere is
right.
So now you can see it. But if it was over the mountain, I don't care where the sun is. Here. It's not going to silhouette it because there's this curve that's blocking it. It's my finger is now a half a mile below this curve, and no matter where I put the sun.
If it's going backwards, if it's going towards you, absolutely. If it's going away from you, you're going.
All right, it's coming towards you.
No, stop the sun. The sun is not moving.
Oh. Well, the sun is moving, but let's go in your model. Okay, so here, now you're saying, oh, now I can see it, right? But that's not true because you're over here on the other side of this hump. This hump is, stop, listen. This hump is here in between you and the hidden part. So as I go over, it doesn't matter, right? You can see it now, but this person here can't because this person has this physical hump there, and no matter where the sun is, it's not going to silhouette it.
If you put that sun towards your forehead, because it's not going to be that close.
Okay,
to that
got it. Yep.
No matter where you're at, you can be where your what is this? Your third finger. You can be on your third finger, and as you move that ball around, as long as you can still see the sun, you'll see the silhouette of that mountain. As
You
it turns,
can't see the silhouette of that mountain
long as you
from
can see
behind the
sun.
curve.
the silhouette is in the sun,
No.
and you can as
Okay.
long as you can.
You're
see
having
the
a mental
sun.
block here. Okay. Can you see my face?
If it was reflected off the sun, yes.
Okay. Well, the sun. You know what? We have to move on because this is a mental block for you. You're just not getting it. When there's a physical hump in
I've got
between
it.
a viewer, if you're here and somebody's here, this is a physical hump between. I
Understood.
don't care how much it turns.
But if
You'll
it's
never
from-
see each
But
other.
if you're on the right hand side, which is towards me, and the sun is that light back there behind you, right? There's a light behind you, right? And that's the sun, right? If it's reflecting off of that light behind you, and I can still see that light behind you,
How could you see the light behind me? There's a physical ball in front of
because
you.
you only see it for a brief moment as the sun sets. Eventually, you can't see the sun no more. As long as you can see the sun, you can see the silhouette. When you can no longer see the sun, when
Only because it's
it's
flat.
nighttime outside.
Okay,
It's
so
nighttime
listen,
outside.
what you're saying makes absolutely no sense. However, let's pretend it does make sense. It would be the same on a flat earth, so you're not proving the globe. It would be the same on a flat earth, right? If
would not, because
listen, hold on. We have a
everything.
We have a flat plane, okay? The camera is the sun, okay? Oh no, I'm sorry. The sun's back here. We have a flat plane, okay? No matter how far away I get, when the sun lines up with that flat plane, you'll see the silhouette right there. Great, agreed on a flat plane. Do you agree with that?
Okay.
Okay. Now you're saying even though I'm hidden behind the ball, the sun somehow makes it, which doesn't make any sense. Let's pretend it makes sense. Wait, hold on. Let's pretend what you're saying makes sense. It doesn't. But it doesn't prove anything because my explanation, there's my building, my thumb, right? And I go back and now look, I'm silhouetting it. No matter how far I go, it silhouettes it, and you have a direct line of sight over the flat plane. That makes sense.
But then I would always see it. I don't always see it. Why?
You don't always see it because. All right, I'm going to explain what. Go ahead.
Okay, explain.
Wait, on a flat Earth, you can what? What are you going to say?
No, I'm going to say you said on a flat Earth, I would always see it. I
No,
would always see it. I
No,
wouldn't see it.
not
at
true.
a certain
Not
point,
true. Not
at a
true.
certain time.
not true. Look,
Why would I not always see it?
I'm going to show you why. Dark mountains, lighter, 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 and then it turns into sky because you can't see the light. The light that's reflecting off of my face isn't as bright as the light that is reflecting onto the actual
We're
sun.
talking about on the sun. We're talking about the silhouette.
I'm talking about the sun, the silhouette of the sun. Now, if the sun set behind here, we'd be able to see the silhouette of the mountains in the distance. But because you can't see forever, things get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. The sun is the brightest light in the sky. That's why it's able to silhouette those mountains. Okay. That's simply, it doesn't get much simpler than that. When we look into the distance, in certain lighting conditions, we can see mountains that are far, far beyond where we should be able to see them. But the brightness as things go into distance, there's mountains out here, you can't see them. So do you believe this is the curve of the earth? It's obviously, clearly not. Okay?
But that would almost be saying all mountains are created equal.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm
That would be
saying
like all
I'm
mountains are
saying
created- are-
the light. Listen, do you know what the inverse square law of light is? You
Come
don't.
on.
I didn't either. Now I'll tell you what it is.
Tell me.
You have a light. Every time you double the distance to that light, it's 1/4 of the brightness. Any light, double the distance is 1/4. So if I had a light that's 1 lumen at 50 feet away, at 100 feet away, it's 1/4 of a lumen. At 200 feet away, it's 1/16 of a lumen. At 400 feet away, it's 128th or whatever, 1/4 of a 16th, whatever. And it's going to get to the point where you can't see it. The light just spreads out, just like sound, and it won't. One sec, and you can't see it. That's what's happening with the light that's bouncing off the mountain. It's getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, trying to push through the thick atmosphere, and it can't. It
Can you
can't
show
push.
us a video
Go
that about the sun disappearing that you took? You took a video with the evaporate. It's like evaporate. The sun.
Yeah. I'm going to show you that even though the sun is the brightest light in the sky, it also can't push through forever. They teach us that light travels forever and ever and ever, billions and billions of years and miles and stuff, and that's nonsense because light spreads out. Right? If I had a balloon, right, I have a non-blown up balloon. Let's pretend the rubber is the intensity of the light. So I have a rubber, it's a nice balloon. I blow it up to a foot wide. That rubber has to spread out and fill that whole area. That's much thinner now. It's less bright. If I blew it up to 10 feet wide, could you even see the rubber at 10 feet wide? This is just a small example. If I blew it up to 100 miles wide, all of that light would have to spread around that 100 miles. It would be unseeable. So here is where did it go? Sun and sunsets.
Do you remember what I mean about the video that you?
Yeah, I'm showing right now. Here it is. So pay attention here carefully. Whoops, that's not it right there. This one. Nope. This one. All right, so I got my drone up in the air, super clear, freezing, below freezing day, super clear, and I watched the sun. In 5 minutes' time, it went down, down, down. Now, if we were spinning, it would just keep on going down and down, but it didn't. It went down, 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 and then it stopped, and it sat here for 10 minutes. Now,
but that's not the sun, though.
That is the sun, okay? It sat here for 10 minutes. Now, my friends are over here at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
They saw the sunset from the bottom up 10 minutes ago. I'm still looking at the sun, okay? And the sun, the most important part isn't the fade out. It's the fact that the sun went down, 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 and then it stopped right here. It stopped. Does that mean the earth stopped? It should always be moving at the same rate if the earth is spinning.
You ever looked at the light and closed your eyes? You ever looked at a light for a long period?
So you think that this is just not, is gone? No.
An illusion.
No, it's not. Watch.
That's just
it just fades out. I'm showing you.
Obviously, it fades out, but that's just like how when I go over the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, one time the moon was sitting on the bridge.
Yeah.
And I went to go take a picture of it because it was amazing. It was the biggest moon I ever seen. It was a blood moon. Biggest moon I ever seen. It was literally as big as this ball in my hand, in my face when I was driving. I went to go take a picture of it and it wasn't there.
Yeah. It was there, but it was tiny. It was tiny. Yeah. So let me tell you what that is. That has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with what you're seeing here. I'm going to tell you what that is. Okay. It has nothing to do with what's going on here. The next time there's a full moon on the horizon, okay, this is going to sound weird. Turn around, spread your legs, bend over, and look at the moon upside down through your legs. I know that sounds crazy. Okay. And what you will see is the same thing the camera sees. The moon will be tiny. Giant moon, then turn around and look at it upside down through your legs. Tiny moon. What's going on? It's the way your brain perceives things.
I know what it is. It's just like when you see a tire on the road that looks like it's going, it's retro.
It looks like it's going backwards.
Right. Same thing.
It's not the same thing. But what I'm showing,
but I get it. By looking at it, it's like I said, it's an optical
right.
illusion.
So saying that the sun fades out, that it's just there. What about the fact that it was going down and it stopped and it sat there for 10 minutes?
How long did you? Because
I sat there for 10 minutes. I filmed it.
Right.
Okay. Right. This is sped up like 2,500%. Okay. 2,500 times. No, 25 times fast. Okay.
So the camera seen it fade out and your friend seen it set.
Yeah, my friend saw it set 10 minutes earlier. That's because it's set due to perspective. The sun just went away and set behind the tree line. Now, the tree line is 100 feet over their head, maybe 200 feet over their heads, but because it was 5 miles away, it looked like it was at eye level. Everything.
How high was the drone up?
My drone was 3,000 feet or something, 2,000 feet.
3,000 feet up, and they were 3,000 feet below it?
No, they were at the beach, yeah.
So they were 3,000 feet below sea level.
Yeah, no, it wasn't 3,000 feet. I think it was like 1,500 feet, actually. 1,500 feet. It doesn't matter.
That makes another. I mean,
no, but here's the point that you're missing. Here's the point that I don't care what height it is. None of that matters. If the earth is spinning and making the sun appear to go down, it should go down at the same rate. It should never go down and stop. It stopped. It stopped. It stopped and it sat there and I watched it fade out. I filmed it 7 different times.
I get it. I get it, but I think once again that was obviously it fading out like that was not it pulling back. Was it probably an imprint on the camera? Maybe it could even be like I said before, an optical illusion.
Or possibly maybe it's just going away and the light can't reach us anymore. The most simple explanation, the one that we can demonstrate 100 times.
So then why is the light on the other side?
Why is there light on the other side of what?
Like for instance, what I would say, let's say China, right? It would be as it turned night here, it's day in China, right? It's their day. They're either a day ahead or behind us, right? So
let's look at that.
I believe.
So let's look at that. So here we go. Here's the sun. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. It's noon in Australia right now. Okay. I'm here in the United States over here, and it's midnight. Okay. 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And as the sun comes around, it brings its light with it. Right. It's noon in Africa right now, in Central Africa. It's noon. And now it's sunrise here as the light comes around. It's nighttime over in China. Okay. And the sun is rising for me on the East Coast. It's rising on the West Coast. It's now noon right about now for me. Bam. It's 9 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. Sun comes around. It's morning in Australia. And this can be proven because at any point during the day, when the sun is in a certain place, like let's say when it's right here, I can call my friend PK up and say, hey, where's the sun and what time is it? He'd be like, well, it's right above me and it's noon. Okay. And that's because that's where the sun is. It's noon. This is how time zones work, right? Time zones.
Couldn't that be in reverse? Like either way, like that could be the picture you're showing could be the earth as a sphere and the sun far back and the earth moving in that. So if the earth is a ball,
there has to be measurable curvature. If the earth is floating in space, there has to be a container.
How high does your drone go?
Doesn't matter.
Or have you ever because me and Coach are going to do this as soon as we get enough money to buy one, because I'm curious. Okay. It's killing me to get a weather balloon and let it go straight up, and then eventually it's going to show some sort of curvature if you can get it past. If it can get through the ozone. I mean,
at what height will it see curvature? At this height, 120,000 feet.
Probably more than that.
Well, you can't go higher than that. Weather balloon won't go any higher than that.
And actually, what I see is, I mean, if you really look at that, you begin to see curvature.
You see curvature because you want to see curvature.
Can you widen that picture though? Because that's, you know what I'm saying? Like obviously something as big as a planet, right? We're just gonna call it a planet. We're not gonna call it curvature, whatever, Earth, whatever, call it a planet. Something as big as a planet, you would probably need to be higher than that to actually see the curvature. That's just like,
well, they always keep rising the bar. They say, well, you can see it from an airplane. Then we say, well, no, you can't. We proved it. You can see it. You can see it from a MiG fighter at 70,000 feet. And then we proved that wasn't the case because we saw that it was flat there when they didn't use the fisheye lens. Then they said, well, you have to go up to 120,000 feet. And then the Red Bull jump proved that wasn't true. And they just keep moving the bar. And the truth is, at 127,000 feet, there should be a massive drop. But let's just talk about
a planet though that holds 4 billion or what is it that holds 7 billion? Like, yeah, I understand how.
So first, 7 billion people. Do you have any proof there's 7 billion people? You don't.
I said 4.
You don't.
You said 7. I said 4.
Okay. I say 1.
Right.
Okay?
You said at first you said that it's written 7. I said 4. I don't believe it. We don't know.
All right, but here's the thing.
We don't know.
The population of the Earth, the way they tell us, means absolutely nothing, because you can give every American family a half an acre in Texas and it won't fill Texas. You can give every family in the world an acre in Australia and half of Australia will be empty. Okay, so the number of people has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth.
I'm saying for it to hold that many people and hold this many continents, it's still going to have to be you just can't go to the rim of it and say, oh, we can see the curvature. You're going to have to. That's like this ball right here, right? Look at this ball. I can't go here. If I can't use my finger because obviously it's not. But if you had a grain of salt, that grain of salt will probably have to come way out here to begin to see it round. It'd be way out here. Even in
Yeah,
that-
I understand what you're saying. If the Earth was a ball, these things are true, but you're pre-assuming a ball, and there's zero
Well, you're
evidence of a.
assuming flat
No,
as a-
I'm not. No. We
You
are.
have the same
Listen,
science-
stop it.
You have the
Stop.
same science as I do.
No, you're incorrect because
Oh, it's not.
you listen. You say it's a ball 24,000 miles around, so we do the measurements. Well, it's not. We can see too far. We can see so far now with infrared cameras that it would have to be over 1,000 times bigger than they tell us. Okay, so that disproves your ball right there. Or the Earth is 1,000 times bigger, but still there would be measurable curvature. And when you say that you see curvature, let me explain how you see. Okay, the sky is here and the ground is here, and as you go into the distance, they come together, and that is the limit of your vision. Okay, so let's say I'm on a little tiny island, 2 feet around, and I'm out in the middle of the ocean. There's no land anywhere around me, and it's perfectly glassy, calm water, no waves at all. Okay, let's say I can see X distance at 12 o'clock forward. X distance, whether it's 3 miles or 100 miles, I don't care. Whatever the number is, I see X distance. If I look at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you will agree that I still see X distance if all conditions are the same, correct? I see the same distance whether I'm looking forward or sideways. Agreed?
Right.
Okay. So here we are, right? So here I am standing. I see X distance here. 1 o'clock, X distance, 2 o'clock, X distance, right? I see the same distance. And look almighty, if I draw a line, there's your curvature. No, it's not.
I'm not talking about seeing it
No,
from
but,
here. I'm talking about the picture that you showed of
From the balloon. Same
I'm talking
thing.
about
The higher
from
you
there.
go,
But
the
if you
higher.
look at it-
Hold on. The higher you go, the farther you can see. But it's still X distance. Wherever you are, you can see a certain. If from the ground I can see 3 miles, great. From 100 feet up, I can see 30 miles, great. From 127,000 feet, I can see 400 miles, 600 miles, whatever it is, X. It's the same in all distances. And when you look at that, when your horizon comes down, right, if you spread that out, yeah, you'll see a big flat circle, like this circle. You'll see, if I could spread this out, you would see that this space between this straight line and this curved edge, this is a flat surface. It's not a ball. Your programming is making you see a ball.
It's not. I don't have programming. I didn't.
Your programming is saying, you just said to me that you see a curve in that bill, in that.
No,
And guess what?
I didn't say a curve. I didn't say a curve. I didn't mean a curve, but I could
What'd you say?
where I could see where you can see up high enough to where it's cylindric. You can see.
No.
As artists.
How? So what is this cylindric right here? You said
That's a
you
lie.
see a little curvature. That's what you said, and now you're saying
No,
cylindric.
go back to the picture. If you look at it, you can see where it begins to go. Like if you look at it,
You see it doing this. Look at this curve right here. This is what you're seeing. This curve, and also if we go back to this you
right.
can't.
Look at it.
You can't see. Listen, first, there's clouds. Nothing is perfectly even, but doesn't matter. This curve doesn't matter because it's flat. It's just the limit of your vision. It's the limit of your vision. And how come every time we set a balloon up,
back, I'm looking across.
you're looking across here? You're
I'm
claiming
not
that you see a curvature here. If the Earth was a ball,
Look at the
or
picture itself, you can see it. I don't know. I'm an artist, so
I think you should show him what NASA
no. We're running out
shows.
of time. It's 10 o'clock. We
Yeah,
only had an
but,
hour.
but you need to show him what NASA shows about this, comparing maybe, and that he will understand the point that you're saying, right?
No, I get it, but like I said, it's informational and.
all right. Let me ask you a question. What's your best proof for the globe? Let's. You have a few more minutes. Can we go 5 or 10 more minutes?
I
let's go.
don't think anybody has proof has
I have proof.
solid.
I have proof. Let's take turns.
Okay.
We can see too far, way too far. Your turn.
For no, I will.
All right, my turn. The physics of water lay flat. Water at rest lay flat. Lays flat.
Let me say. I would say the low and high tide.
Tides. Okay, So you've been told, and I used to believe it too, that tides are because of the moon. How come there's no tides? These these red and blue areas are high tides and low tides, right? And
I'm a
the
fisherman. I get it. Like I know about
but
time. I'm a fisherman.
yeah, tides are different everywhere. There's high tides and low tides. This is the story on tides. Tell me, this is what you have to believe. You ready? So they tell us that where is it? They tell us that the moon makes a high tide. So if my head was the moon, we have a high tide right here. It's pulling the water away from the earth, creating a high tide. Well, you know what? The tide, if you really think about it, if it pulls the water away, it would be low tide at the shoreline because it's pulling the center of the ocean out. But this is the official explanation. My moon head pulls the tide away. But how come there's another tide, a high tide on the other side of the earth? Because there's a high tide, low tide, high tide every 6 hours. Okay, right? And the answer is because the gravity of the moon is pulling the earth away from the water. This is what your science is saying. Let me say that again because it's so stupid, it's hard to comprehend. My head, the moon, is pulling the water away from the earth, and it's pulling the earth away from the water, creating two high tides, and then the earth is rotating in between them. That's ridiculous, but that is the official story. When you really want to get into tides and you start looking at magnetics, right? The magnetics of the quadrupole of the earth really line up with what's going on with that tide chart I just showed you. So it is perfectly, it is fully understood that the moon has nothing to do with the tides. It has nothing to do with it, okay? When there's a full moon or a new moon, what difference does that make? The moon is still there. Right? When there's a new moon, it just means that the sun, your world, it means that the sun isn't lighting it up. The gravity, is there no gravity when the sun's not on it? Okay. What difference would a full moon and a new moon make if it was gravity that was affecting the tides? There's areas like the Maldives that don't have any tide. They're on the equator. Wait a minute. The earth is spinning. The centrifugal force, they tell us in science, pushes the water out 14 miles high. Heliocentric science says because of the spin, the centrifugal force, that the water bulges 14 miles high at the equator. Have you ever seen that bulge? Because it's taller than Everest. I've never seen it. If you ever fly from the north to the south, and you'd have to triple the flight height just to skim over a hump of water, this is what your science, used to be my science, this is what heliocentric science is telling you. And people are like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And the earth is so big, if we shrunk the earth down, it would be smoother than a cue ball, even with that 14-mile high hump of water. Nonsense. Airplanes fly 5 miles high. How do I get over that 14-mile hump of water without tripling my height and just to skim over it? Okay. This is pseudoscience nonsense. There is zero proof of the globe, and there is a million proofs of flat earth. And we can prove with science, you can use math for anything, but we can prove using their math against them that their story of stars is nonsense. What's that?
But I think even in your explanation of flat earth, it's just a certain circumference of it. So you couldn't really, you would say flat earth is a, I don't want to have, and this is the placeholder term or word I'm going to use, but you would just say it's a flat earth is just a continent on this planet.
No, I'm not. Flat earth is,
because you said that there's a circumference around it where we can't go, right? So it's like a playground where like all the we're going to say all people live, right? And then outside of that is something that we've never seen. So how would you say that? So
we don't know. You're right. We don't know. Well, hold on. We live here, inside here. Okay. We have no idea what's out here. There's plenty of stories, plenty of ancient, religions, and there's plenty of interesting, unconfirmed evidence and reports that I wasn't there of more land. We just want the right to go explore out here.
What about? Okay, I have a question.
This is off limits.
What about the underwater tours of Alaska?
The underwater tours of what about them? I'm not sure.
Alaska. Like, I mean, if we couldn't go past it, because you said Alaska stops,
no,
right?
No. Alaska's right here. This is
Okay.
well within our realm. This is all
Well,
available
then what was over in the outer skirts that we couldn't
out
go to?
here. We're not allowed to go to Antarctica.
Okay, yeah. Antarctica. I'm sorry. They have Antarctica tours, right?
Yeah, well, they do. So let me
And
tell you where they
actually
take you.
build
They take
fan-
you. Hold on. They take you from right here to this little spot right here. That's it. Right. See the thickness of Antarctica right here. If this is true, this is 1,000 miles or more. Okay. So you don't know what's here. Like if a boat comes to the South Shore of Long Island, you don't know what's on the North Shore, and that's only I don't know 30 miles.
Oh,
Okay.
what about I forgot the name of the person who boated around the world in the water or something like that and ended up in the
Captain
same
Cook.
and they ended up in this and he went around, he didn't see anything the same, and he ended up in the same exact spot.
Yeah.
What happened? How did that? Can you explain that?
So first thing is, Captain Cook went around Antarctica, a continent at the bottom of the ball, is 10 to 13,000 miles around. So he tried to go around it, and it took him 3.5 years. He went over 60,000 miles. Wait a minute. The equator is only 25,000 miles, 24,901. How the hell did he go 60,000 miles if he's at the bottom of the ball and it's only 13,000 miles? He went over 60,000 miles. Some people say 68,000 miles. I round down 60. Okay. That's because he went all the way around like this, right? And what you don't understand about is just circumnavigation. You can leave New York going east.
I do understand.
Okay, so if you leave New York going east and you stay in your compass east, 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 never veering off of that, and you end up back at New York, what does that mean?
Well, you can do the same thing here where I'm from, because I used to show girls. I used to drive girls, and I used to leave on 66 West and come back on 66 West. That's
Heading
just
west the whole time?
Yes, that's just the
No,
way.
Wait a minute, hold on. Was the street called west, or were you actually heading west?
I was actually on the interstate heading west.
Okay, and you can go in one direction and come back to where you started from.
And you end up going west.
If you had a compass, would that compass veer off of west at all during that trip? Absolutely. There's no street that goes back to where it was. You can call it West Street, but it's going north and east and south and west. Okay. But if you go, so my question to you is, if you leave New York heading east
Mhm.
and you're in an airplane, never runs out of gas, or a train or a car or a boat, whatever, and the compass is saying east, and if you keep going east and you end up back in New York, does that prove anything?
What would it prove?
I'm asking you, does it
Because
prove?
it's the same
Some
thing.
people say it proves that you're on a globe.
Because the same thing. If the street things are right, who knows if compasses are right?
I don't know what you're talking
They
about.
could
The
be
street
off.
thing. There's
Because
no
a compass-
street thing.
You just said a compass is man-made, right? Like a compass can be off, right? It doesn't
No, a
unless
compass points to magnetic north.
unless you put a
compass points to magnetic north, and it circumnavigates the north relentlessly for thousands of years.
Okay.
So I'm just glad, by the way, you get a point for not saying that it proves the earth is a globe, because it doesn't. It's the same on a flat earth and on a globe earth. If you go
right. So I wouldn't. I'm obviously right.
you got that. But saying that a compass is lying to you, no, a compass is can be used to circumnavigate the world. You can go east or west. One thing you can't do is go south. You can't go south and come back up to the north. It never happens. No one's ever done it. But east and west, billions of people have circumnavigated east and west. 0 have gone south. Here's our magnetic north. My compass is pointing towards the north. I'm trying to push this boat, plane, whatever, west, and west is a circle. West is a circle, brings me right back to where I started, because that needle has to point towards the north the whole time. West is over here on the compass, and I'm back to where I started. Now I can go east also, east, right? This is 90 degrees east. 90 degrees east is a circle, right? The compass is pointing to the north the whole way. I'm going east. Now, if I go west and I don't correct to the north, so here's west. Before I start moving, I line up west and I follow this west trajectory. I'm immediately going south because I got my back to the compass. South is that way. South is that way. Nobody has ever gone south from Santiago and magically appeared over in New Zealand or Australia. Okay. Nobody has gone south from Johannesburg and popped up over here on the other side of the world. You can go south, but you never come back. 0 people have done it.
Well, could that be because of the fuel? I mean, there could be numerous reasons why they don't go that way.
So you're saying on a ball, hold on. Because of the fuel, we could fly all over the world. We could fly all over the world. So here we are, Santiago, and right over here is Australia. Right over here is Australia. Okay, we can't just fly like that. Why can't we just go like that from Santiago right to Australia? We can go from Santiago. We can go all over the place. Let me just show you.
I mean, there could be a lot of reasons for that. Obviously, the airways are controlled. There could be, depending on what ports they fly into, depending on where the airplane goes from there to another, depending on what size of airplane is at that particular airport. There could be a lot of reasons why they don't go straight. It could be financial. They can charge more if they make you sit on a plane for 18 hours.
Let me ask you a question. Good question. We're gonna go down another rabbit hole, and then we can wrap it up. Right? We got the equator here. The top half is north, bottom half is the south, right? Just let me know you're with me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
So any two locations in the north, let's say there's 10,000 different airports. Any two locations from any north airport to any other north airport, would that plane need to go below the equator to get there?
Like there's only like
listen, logically, would they not?
No,
okay, so hold on. You are right. No airplane does that. Any northern flight to any other northern place never goes below the equator because it doesn't make sense. You're right. So the same thing would be true for southern locations. There's to be no reason to come up into the north to go into the south. Okay.
There could be a lot of reasons.
Well, wait.
They don't have to be logical. They could be financial.
So hold on. We're gonna cover that, and then I'm gonna completely remove the financial aspect from the equation because I'm gonna show you something. Okay. This flight here goes all the way up into the northern hemisphere, and then comes all the way back down when it could have just gone across right here. But if you look at it on a flat Earth map, it's a straight line. The blue circle is the equator. It's a straight line. That's just a coincidence. Maybe they have to pick up passengers there.
Well, my folks just left Atlantic City, New Jersey to go to Mobile, Alabama, and it took them 12 hours on a plane because the plane went from, because they had to go 2 hours away from Atlantic City, then get on another plane to take
so that I'm talking direct flights. I'm talking
to take them up.
Okay.
To go back down.
Yeah. I got you. So here's another one, right? They could have gone right here to Lima, Peru, which is the same or less distance than going up to Los Angeles and then over. But if you look at it on a flat Earth map, it makes a little more sense. Boom, stop in Los Angeles and continue over. Okay.
Or it's just like I said before.
Hold on. You can keep making excuses, but you're not going to be able to in a minute. You're not going to.
Excuse. That's how it works. Like I'm gonna that's how business works, right? I could come in and cut your like if I was a barber, I could cut. Well, no, because barbers don't get paid by the hour. But if you were doing construction, I could finish a job in 5 hours, right? I could and be out of there.
Yeah.
Right. But why would I do that when I know I could get 25 hours?
I got you. So you're going to make the same excuse up for here. They go all the way up to Los Angeles and then all the way back down here rather than just cutting across.
Because that's not, like I said, once again, I mean, you could use that. That's not the only thing you could use, but I mean, that's like for thinking about it, flying, trying to get somewhere. Yeah, because they're trying to get as much money out of you as possible.
So wait, so there's a full plane of people that want to go here, right, but they fly twice the distance. Yep. Because they want to save money?
No, because they want because the
you're making stuff up now.
No, the plane service wants to charge them more money, right? They want to have a reason why it costs so much to fly here, why it costs $3,000 to fly this way, because we got to go here and then go there.
All right, now I'm going to completely blow your excuses out of the water, and I'm really curious what you have to say here. Okay. So now we have a flight from New York to Hawaii, and somebody had a medical emergency. A woman was having a baby or a heart attack, whatever it was, and they went all the way up to Seattle, which is like 1,500 miles out of the way. When the emergency happened, they landed 15 minutes later. Like really quick, they landed. But somehow they went 1,500 miles out of the way to Seattle. Well, when you look at it on a flat Earth map, the emergency happened right here. And guess what? Seattle's right on that.
Because they're, how fast does an airplane go?
550 miles per hour. So that would take 3 hours to get to Seattle.
Right. Or were they close or were they to the left of Seattle? Like,
they were here. This is what hold on. This is what the seat back is showing people.
Right.
This is the flight path. And they went all the way up here. But then when we look at it on a flat Earth map, it's lined up. Let's just look at another one. I got a couple more I want to show you. Okay. And see how many excuses you can make.
I'm not making excuses.
You are making excuses. Watch. Here's another one from London to Islamabad, and it landed in Moscow.
But that's a business practice.
No, hold on. Business practice is somebody's in a medical emergency, get them to a hospital. Okay. So here's the flight path that they said they were taking, and they went all the way to Moscow. I think this might be close to 2,000 miles. Okay. Let's call it 1,000 miles. How did they get there in 15 minutes? It would take them 2 hours. Well, look, Moscow's right on this exact line of where, like that's why they landed in Moscow, because they were flying over Moscow. Hold on. There's more.
Well, I mean, you told me flight path, but how do we know that that was the actual flight path?
I'm showing you. This is what they're telling. Hold on. This is what they're telling us the flight path is. Emergency happened. They had to land. This is what really happened. Okay. Because this is where they were. They were right over there. Okay. So I got a new one for you too. One that just happened recently. Dallas to Beijing. They went all the way up to Calgary. Okay. Again, look at this distance. 1,500 miles maybe. Calgary happens to be just.
And how long did it? Well, where were they when the emergency started?
Emergency happened right about here.
Now, are we sure of that?
Yes. And by the way, don't believe anything I'm showing you. This is just a meme. I'm going to show you where you can get all the information and go verify it yourself. But and all of this is verified information. But if you believe me, you're crazy. And if you go research it yourself, then you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. Okay. And all the research has been done for you, put together for you. Okay. But again, another one here. There's actually 18 emergency landings now. But here is another one I want to show you. There's two more I want to show you. So this one from New York to Auckland, New Zealand. And right here, there was an emergency and they went to Fiji. Okay. Why did they go to Fiji? New Zealand was either the same, if not closer. Okay. But if you look at it on a flat Earth map, New York to New Zealand, there's Fiji right there. New York to New Zealand. Fiji's right on the flight path again. How many times does this have to happen for someone to stop making excuses? One more. This one is really sickening. Okay. But it's an important one. This happened a few months ago. Plane from Hong Kong going all the way to the UK stopped in Frankfurt, Germany. What happened was it's a 12-hour flight. And during that flight, a family was on there, little kids, a husband, and the mother died right in her chair. Boom, dead. Right? They flew for 8 more hours with the mother in the chair next to the family because they couldn't land. Well, wait a minute. This is the flight route they said they're on. There's 100 different places to land here. Okay. But if you look at this on a flat Earth map, it's going to throw a big wrinkle, right? 4 hours into the trip, she dies. The rest of the time, they're over Russia. 2 problems. One, if they landed in Russia, Russia would have taken care of her. Let me get her off. And they're like, wait a minute, Russia's not the bad guy. 2, what the hell are we doing over Russia? Why are we over Russia? Russia.
But once again, now
what I'm telling you is 8 hours they couldn't land because they were flying over Russia. Right? Russia allows other countries to fly over. That's a nonsense that we're not allowed to fly over Russia. Okay. But the route that they show it, listen, airplanes like to save money. They go in a straight line over the flat plane. Airplane flies over a flat plane. This is the route again, 8 hours. And then wait, they went 8 hours. Why didn't they just finish the last hour and go to London? Why did they stop here? Because that was the first place they could stop. Okay. Again, Emergency landings prove we live on a flat, stationary Earth. And if you want to find us out, there's a book called 16 Emergency Landings Proving the Earth is Flat. It's a PDF online, or you can get it on lulu.com. It's an awesome book. It's all documented, the plane routes, the flight, when it happened, where they landed, the newspaper articles. It's all put together. There's 16 out of the 18 or 19 that there are now. And it's a great book. That's all. And by the way, all of those books, here's what I recommend. You are desperately clinging to your ball. And by the way, I did the same thing, so don't feel bad. Okay? You're desperately clinging to your ball.
I know I'm not clinging to a ball.
You are, because you have zero proof of the globe, and you're claiming I have no proof, but you're not listening to what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
We can see too far. We can see too far.
Everybody has the same thing. Everybody has the same evidence that they're working with, right?
No.
Like you're working with maps that are made from ancient Greeks. I'm not gonna say I'm using Greeks. I'm using Greeks as a placeholder. I'm using Greeks as a placeholder, but ancient maps, and they're using current science and technology, and you're using ancient maps with.
I don't have to use ancient maps. We can see too far.
You showed me okay, a flat Earth
We
map.
can see too far.
Where
We
did the
can
flat
see
Earth
too
map
far.
Where did the flat
So
Earth map?
the we don't have a perfect map, but the best map we have right now is the Gleason's map.
And that came from?
It was in every school library, and it's a one that's used for navigation. To this very day. But it was removed. It was made in 1880 or late 1800s is when it was made, and they claim that it's just a projection of the globe. So how in the 1800s did they map out the globe when we couldn't do it until NASA went up? Okay, then they had the ability to project that out into a map. No, they literally took the Gleason's map and wrapped it around a globe and told you live on a ball with absolutely no proof whatsoever. No proof whatsoever. They literally wrapped it on a ball and made you believe that you live on a ball. They took the Gleason's map and they wrapped it on a ball, bringing the outer edge of our world, of our known world, and telling you it's a continent at the bottom where they can't show you a single picture and nobody can cross it ever. Okay? Nobody can cross Antarctica. That should raise some suspicion.
Wait, okay. So why? That's not. Well, you know what?
Why? Because we're not a continent at the bottom of the ball. It's because Antarctica, again, 60,000 miles. Captain Cook went, not 13,000 miles across the bottom. Look, they're bringing it all together. No one crosses here, and there's no images of it. Why? That's got to make you curious. You're holding onto your ball because your entire life is built on it. And you're afraid to admit that you've been lied to your whole life. Okay.
Okay. First of all, like I'm curious of like why would it be?
Why the lie?
Yeah. Why would it be something that I'm holding on to? Right.
Well, because listen, we all like believing that we know everything, and when you find out the foundation of your life is a lie, it's a lot to take in, and a lot of people just don't want to feel it.
Okay. Because I tell Coach all the time, and this is how me and Coach end our conversation when we talk about this, right? This is the same exact way we end this conversation. How does that affect? How is that affecting my life? Yo, my life is affected by what I can provide for myself, right?
Yeah,
that's what.
So you work and you do stuff and you work for this monopoly money. It's literally the same color as money. Money is based on nothing. It's fake. We're playing on their monopoly board and we're playing on their fake ball, right? You live on a
promissory note, right? Like money is a promissory note, right? You're right. It has no real value. That cash has no real value, right? Yeah. It's property. It's special metals. It's I'm going to use a placeholder as liquid.
My point is the elite control us with money. They control us with money. What is money? It's literally it's worthless, but that we use it and we need it to operate in this world. So we need to get off their monopoly board and start using the real board, right? Monopoly board's flat, by the way. We need to get off of their fake fiat system and use our own money, whether barter or crypto or whatever it is, okay? We need to stop letting them control us. Here's the thing. Flat Earth, why does it affect me? That's what I said. When I threw out all my proofs, Aristophanes, sticks and shadows, sunsets, day and night, time zones. And then when I realized all of those things actually prove the earth is flat,
Well,
especially
time zones
seasons.
is just created for farmers. So
No. Time zones. Like it's 3 hours earlier in California right now. I'm in Connecticut.
Yeah, but that was created. Time zones were created for farmers.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
The sun, wherever the sun is, when the sun's at its zenith, it's noon at that place. We live in a giant clock. When they gave us a clock, they gave us one that goes around twice every 24 hours, so we wouldn't figure out where we live.
But it can't be. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
All right. So the point is, they don't want you to know that your thoughts create your reality. They don't want you to know that there's maybe more land out there. They don't want you to know that we're not overpopulated. We're not running out of water. We're not running out of fuel. We're not causing global warming or climate change. They don't want you to know that you are a powerful being at the center of creation. They want to make it as easy as possible for anyone to just assume there's no creator, to believe there's no creator, when the fact is we are at the center of creation. We are part of the creator. We are part of this creation. This entire system that we live in is an amazing system, and we have abundance beyond what we can imagine. They don't want us to know that they have no authority over us, right? Nobody has authority over you. No one can make you do anything. They can make you believe, and then they have authority in your imagination. They don't want you to know that you are are in charge of your destination. You have God-given free will you have God-given free will, and nobody can take that from you, except they can make you believe that you give it away. So they keep you in fear. They scare you with fake nuclear bombs. They scare you with war. They scare you with running out of water, running out of fuel. They control all the food. They don't let you know that, hey, you can just stick a seed in the ground and water will fall from the sky and food will come out of the ground. They don't want people to know that.
What do you mean? My grandfather was a farmer.
All right. Well, you're smarter than most people. You go ask kids today, where does lettuce come from? They don't know. They don't know.
I don't understand. Like they don't like those things are. That's a whole other conversation.
So my point is, they don't want us connecting with nature. They tell us in school that we only use 2% of our brains. They don't think you're allowed to do lots of things, but people are too busy working 9 to 5. They're eating crap food. They're getting sick. They're putting stuff in their body that makes them sick, right? They're doing all sorts of stuff, and they're living in fear. Every day they turn on the news and they're like, oh my God, nuclear bombs are going to Putin's going to blow us up. All of that is fake. All of it's fake, right? If you live in fear, you're going to go, government, please protect me. Please protect me. When the fact is, they're not here to protect you. They're farming us, right? And they have us trapped in this little matrix. The heliocentric ball is a matrix for your mind. And when you wake up to flat earth, you unplug from the matrix and you place yourself back into the real world. Okay. It's literally a matrix for your mind. If you believe you live on a ball and it's not a ball, it's the matrix. Okay. It's a matrix for your mind. And if you go, I just got back from a flat earth conference, hundreds and hundreds of flat earthers, everyone awake, aware, vibrant, from all walks of life, amazing people and energy. And, then you go out back home, I'm back out in zombie land. There's people that are just so lost. They have no idea who they are, where they are. And they're just going to work until they're too old to enjoy it. And then they're going to, get sick and die. And that's where they want us. They want us not opposing their authority. School is just an indoctrination system. They teach you accounting so you can be a good accountant, and so you can work at a store and stuff like that. They teach you, geometry, regular geometry. They don't teach you sacred geometry. They don't teach you vortex mathematics. They don't teach you about the things that really matter, the things that could challenge their authority. They don't teach you that your thoughts create your reality. They tell you have to work hard and you have to save money and put it in the bank, and invest it. And then when you're old, you can get to move to Florida or something. Okay. That's nonsense. So how does it change my life? Change my whole life. I had my own company. I was super successful, right? Making tons of money. I walked away from it all to help people unplug from the matrix. Never been happier. Never worked more in my life. Okay. Never had more free time. Also, at the same time, I'm working harder than I ever did before. And I have more free time than I've ever did before. That sounds impossible in the physical, nonsensical world they have us living in. But in reality, you can make your own reality. Get off the ball, man. It's not good.
I'm a firm believer of the last thing you said. You make your own reality. I'm a firm believer of that. I've never like so.
I'm offering 3 Bitcoins. That's 60 grand, over 60 grand now, for one globe proof. Try to find one. All right, try to find one. And your buddy next to you, he's got my app. They're hiding this information. The fact that if you Google my name, you get nonsense. You get Professor Dave. You get all this nonsense. If you Google Flat Earth, you get all nonsense. Right? If you Google A Stranger's Guide to Flat Earth 21 Questions, pretty unique name of an amazing video, it won't show up. And they'll give you all of the other propaganda. That should make you wonder. Okay. But if you take
I didn't use any of that though. I seen it, but I didn't use any.
You didn't.
Like I
didn't see it. If you saw all of this stuff, if you took the time to look, you would know that we don't live on a globe. But you're in a point. I've never ever heard the argument that the spinning of the Earth puts mountains in front of suns. That makes no sense. It makes no sense.
I'm sure to you, I'm sure whatever makes sense is not going to make sense to you.
That's incorrect. Because I've looked into this more than you.
I have a picture. You sure haven't. And and like I said, that's why I'm here as an informational only. And there'll be some questions I'll have, but I'll let you explain and then go from there, which is what I did.
My point, just going back to the beginning, your thing with the mountain and the sun and the Earth rotating and the sun being far away can let you see over the hump and backlight the mountain doesn't make any sense. However, it makes perfect sense on a flat Earth plane. So even if yours was true, it proves neither. Okay? It proves neither. So you still haven't come up with a globe proof, but you still believe in the globe. I know more about the globe than you. That's a fact. If you knew a quarter of the amount about the globe that I do, you'd be a flat earther. Okay? Because the globe is the dumbest crap ever.
I don't think that's true that I'd be a flat earther.
Well, then learn about the globe. Learn about the nonsense that they tell you about the globe.
And like I said, I didn't come. The reason why I didn't bring up some of the points that I have in there is I didn't come here for a debate. I came here to learn, right? To see where you were coming from and what this idea. I don't want to call it idea. I use it as a placeholder. I don't want to disrespect your knowledge or anything like that, or your commitment to something. I don't want to disrespect that. So I'm using idea as a placeholder. But I wanted to see where you were coming from with it. And yeah, I had a few questions that I feel like when they were valid points to you, they were nonsense. But it seems like when I made valid points, that was nonsense.
Well, I was bringing no. So like I brought up the distance of curvature, and you're like, well, you'd be a grain of sand, and we could see 300 miles. You threw away. Hold on a second. You threw out you go 300 miles before you'd see the curve, and I told you that's like. What I say, 16 miles of curvature or whatever it was. And you think that's nonsense? You think that's nonsense?
Yeah. There's
stuff that. So what is the formula for curvature?
But once again, we'll go through the footage. We'll I'll look at some of the things that you talked about and do my own research because that's what I do. Like I don't.
What is the curvature at 10 miles? Just 10 miles. 6 feet
on a big enough plane. None.
No. On the globe Earth that you're told that you live on
a big enough plane. None.
No, not a big enough plane. A big enough plane. You can see we're on a big plane, but on the globe that you're telling me, hold on the globe that you say you live on, at 10 miles there should be 66 feet of curvature.
So what you're saying at 10 miles, I should see how much curvature?
66 feet.
66 feet of curvature.
At 10 miles. Let me show you. I can prove it to you right now.
Well, that's fine. That's fine because we're running late and it's already 10:30. I want to go ahead and wrap it up. Is there anything that you can?
My suggestion to you is because you're not going to find any information except stuff that will dig you in deeper into nonsense.
You'll be surprised what I can find.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised what I can find. You'll be surprised my
go to my website, flatearthdave.com. There's the crash course there. There's some great videos there. You can watch them, or you can get the app, which you probably won't. The app's $3. You don't need to get it. Just go to the website and check out the videos there, and then take some notes, and then go verify the stuff yourself. That's what I did, and that's how I ended up here.
Sounds good. Well, I really appreciate you for your time, David. I think we had a great time here. We could do this again sometime. Once I go through all of your all
In
the
the
footage,
Bitcoins. I'd
all
love
the-
to give you the Bitcoins. All right. One globe proof. That's
Yeah,
all you
yeah,
need.
absolutely.
And when you can't find one,
Absolutely.
ask yourself why.
You know what? I'm the type of person who's not going to find one. I'm the type of person who's not going to go look to find one, but I'm going to go look to create that evidence myself. Right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, then find one. Then make the evidence yourself. Come,
Right.
and then you can save me from ever having to do this again. One globe
Listen,
proof, and I'm done.
when it happens, it's let's have beer afterwards.
No worries, dude. You're a good sport. You're a good sport. All right. Peace.
Thanks again for your time.
All right. See you. FlatEarthDave.com. Check it out.